Hi there. In a recent video, I discussed how the legendary Welsh striker Ian Rush once played for Shelbourne Football Club in 1996 in a match at Talca Park. And this time I'm going to look at how the following year future Westlife star Nicky Byrne also played for Shels and indeed had more appearances for the club than the all-time leading goal scorer of Liverpool FC. Nicky Byrne was a highly rated goalkeeper in his younger days, and he represented Ireland from under 15s to under 18s at international level. And he was on the books of Leeds United from 1995 to 1997, and I believe made the bench for at least one Premier League match when he was still in his teens. This was when Howard Wilkinson was the manager of Leeds, but Wilkinson's replacement, George Graham, decided that Byrne at 5 feet 10 inches was not tall enough to make it at the top as a professional goalkeeper, so he let the Dubliner go following the end of the 96-97 season, and not long afterwards Byrne returned to Dublin and signed for Shelbourne on a short-term contract in mid-July 1997. Shelbourne manager Damien Richardson had hoped to give him his debut in the President's Cup match against Bohemians to kick off the season, but that didn't work out. So Byrne would go on to make two substitute appearances for Shels during a pre-season friendlies at Talca Park later that month against English opposition, firstly against Huddersfield Town on Thursday the 17th of July 1997, when Shels lost by 2-1. Both of Huddersfield's goals were scored by their striker Marcus Stewart, the first from the penalty spot in the 26th minute and then the second in the 65th minute from open play, with Shels striker Desi Baker responding after 78 minutes when he slotted home a penalty after Tony Sheridan was fouled inside the area. 2 minutes later, Nicky Byrne came on in place of Stephen O'Brien to make his Shelbourne debut, and he played the last 10 minutes of the game with no more goals scored. Byrne's second appearance for Shelbourne came 9 days later then against his former club Leeds United. On Saturday the 26th of July 1997, when he came on again as a late substitute for Stephen O'Brien, and there was an attendance of between 6,000 to 7,000 people at this match, so much bigger than the Huddersfield Town clash, and Leeds won again. The score was 2-1 against an injury hit Shelbourne team. Leeds went ahead after 10 minutes when midfielder Lee Boyer scored after Stephen O'Brien had failed to hold on to a shot from winger Lee Sharp, and then a typically opportunistic goal from Desi Baker 8 minutes later, following a mistake by the Leeds keeper Nigel Martin, saw Shelbourne draw level, but Leeds would go on to score the decisive goal moments after Byrne had come on as a sub in the 75th minute. When the new signing, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, pounced on a clearance by substitute Rod Wallace, and then he ran clear of the Shels defence before he scorched home the winner from close range, giving substitute goalkeeper Nicky Byrne no chance, as we can see photographed here. Now, with Alan Gough returning from injury, Shelbourne manager Damien Richardson agreed to send Nicky Byrne out on loan for 1 month to Cove Ramblers in the First Division. In order to give the young goalkeeper a chance for first team football, and his debut came immediately for Cove Ramblers in a League Cup match away to Waterford United at the RSC on Friday the 15th of August 1997. He would sign another contract with Cove and go on to make, I believe it was 15 appearances in total that season. And Nicky Byrne also went on then to play a few games for the Dublin club St Francis, who were then also operating in the League of Ireland First Division before he decided to quit football and pursue a career in the music industry instead. That was a decision he certainly would not regret. Incidentally, some Shelbourne supporters got to see an early incarnation of Westlife called IOU perform at half-time during a league match at the Sligo showgrounds, a league match between Sligo Rovers and Shels, which occurred in January 1998, a game that finished 1-1. Byrne was not yet part of that musical act and still known at the time as a former Irish Youths international who was back in Ireland trying to rebuild his footballing career. After Shelbourne later almost made the knockout stages of the European Champions League in 2004, Byrne would remark that I have a soft spot for Shels. They were very unlucky. A quote which appears in the 2009 book by Sean Fitzpatrick, Shelbourne Cult Heroes, which includes Byrne as one of 50 football characters without whom Shelbourne would be just another club. So even though he only made a couple of substitute appearances for Shels in games that the club lost, Nicky Byrne is still included in the book. And in his chapter on Nicky Byrne, Sean Fitzpatrick claims that the long-haired kid saved a penalty kick against Huddersfield Town and pulled off a superb save from a Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank rocket against Leeds United. Thanks very much for watching this short presentation, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. All the best.